Hi guys, and welcome back to Alistair Davies Golf. Today's video is all about the lead wrist and downswing, and I've been posted this question on my YouTube channel, so I'm coming back with the answer about the lead wrist. So the question was really explaining about how the lead wrist should work in transition, if you like, and the downswing. So I'm also going to share you some 3D graphs that show how this lead wrist should work in an ideal world. So what I'm looking for really is at the top of the golf swing, the wrist for me would want to be flat, or if anything, if you're going to overdo anything, I'd probably want it to be slightly what we're calling flexion. So flexion would be too much this way, extension would be this way, and that's why I call it neutral. So basically in terms of how we class the wrist, when I'm talking in 3D graphs, it'll either be in flexion or extension, or it'll be in what we call radial or ulnar. So those are the movements I'm going to be talking about in the golf swing here. So the top of the golf swing, basically what would happen is the wrist would be in radial, so we'd have some wrist cock. And then what I'd like to see in an ideal world as we start the downswing is the wrist cock would actually increase. So as we look at this now, the swing would go from a kind of wider position to a narrower position. That's what we tend to see with elite golfers. The wide, narrow looking golf swing. So we go from a radial position to an increased radial position. And we go from a, if you like, slightly flexed position in an ideal world to a slightly increased flex position, so a bowing in the wrist, a bit like John Rahm and Dustin Johnson. So this would just flex ever so slightly, increase this radial movement as we start a downswing. Now as we get nearer to the golf ball, what would happen is the radial movement in the wrist decreases, decreases, and actually goes into what we call ulnar, which is this way, into impact. And it'll go into ulnar around about kind of 0 to 10 degrees. So it does vary player to player, and it's not an exact science to say you should be 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 10 degrees, but most elite players will be in ulnar through impact. And realistically at impact they would be in what we call flexion, all elite players, a small amount. So the amount of flexion would decrease as we get nearer the golf ball, but ideally we'd want it to be increasing in that transition area as we start down. Then it would kind of hold off and go more neutral and be slightly in flexion at contact. Now there are some players that will be into that extension position at the top of the swing, maintain that extension position and then go into more flexion at a later point in the downswing. The honest truth is if we get to the right position at contact, it doesn't much matter how we do it. The only thing then we would talk about then is the repeatability and the timing. And obviously the less the wrists have to move, so if we have, for example, an excessive cut position to a flex position at contact, there's going to be an excessive amount of movement in the downswing, and then the timing of that might become a little bit of an issue. Whereas if we have less movement with our arms and wrists and more movement with our body, in my opinion, the more consistent players tend to be. Obviously, they have to be able to move the body the correct way. Otherwise, it makes no difference. So that would be the lead wrist, increasing the radial, increasing the flexion, then it reduces the contact into this ulnar position, and then back into radial post-impact. So the wrists work from kind of set to ulnar to resetting. So they kind of load more, unload, load. And all the time they're also doing the flexion and extension as they move along too. And the rotating. So we'd see the rotation happen as well, again to maintain this club face square to the arc in which we're swinging. So what does this really mean to you as a golfer? Well, for me, and I've done videos on this before, all I'd be concentrating on doing really would be trying to feel that we have this kind of flat left wrist as much as you can. Try and feel that we load the wrists and then commit to the shot and extend the shot. If we can kind of get to the top of the back position, get the wrist flat and set, and then from there get to a fall through where we feel that we extend and commit to the shot, you will create a decent impact for sure. Let's just try a shot. So keep things simple when you're playing for sure. Think about just the little things like a flat left wrist at the top of the backswing. If you slice the ball, it's for sure going to help you. Getting that wrist more flat, more flex, whichever word you want to do, more bowed, more DJ, that's going to help you. But this is the wrist kind of explained in detail on the downswing, and I'll back it up with some 3D graphs to show you how it moves. I hope you've enjoyed this video on the wrist in the downswing. If you have, please click like, it helps my channel grow. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. This makes sure you don't miss any free content. I've got 3 videos a week coming out on a variety of subjects. And please post comments, particularly videos you want me to cover, just like this gentleman did. And I'll get back to you with a video as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.